Hi beautiful, I hope you're having an amazing day. I'm Maisterly and today you're watching OMG's Organization Back to School Edition. So we're coming to the end of the series and obviously I planned out every single video that I want to share with you guys. However, one thing that I've noticed throughout this entire series is that you guys have been asking like one question over and over again, and I really wanted to answer that question today because I feel like you guys deserve an answer instead of me just like writing a quick answer in the comment section. So today I'm talking about the Norwegian school system, basically why I'm forced to do 13 years of school instead of 12. So I hope you guys are excited about that. Make sure to join the giveaway if you haven't joined it already. I'm giving away iPad mini and all you need to do to enter is to subscribe to me, put on post notifications, and follow me on Instagram, which is there. And if you're from Scandinavia, then you've got to subscribe to this channel because we Scandinavians need to stick together. And yeah, if you're from anywhere else in the world, then yeah, totally join the giveaway and subscribe. Alright, I think that's all. Let's get right ahead and get into this video. And also, side note, if you see me looking down, it's probably at my computer because there's some stuff about middle school and like primary school that I'm not completely sure of because it's been a while since I've gone there. I currently go in my 13th year of high school, so that's what I know best. But anyway, let's go. Fact number 1. There are 3 different types of schools you go to when you get your education before university. And before that, again, you have what we call förskola, which is basically a year you take when you're in the end of kindergarten before you start school. It's basically just an introductory course for like 4 and 5-year-olds that focus on that they have to get into the learning habits and not only play. It's not really that serious. Then you start what is called barneskolen, which is primary school or elementary school. It's for 7 years, so for 1st to 7th grade, and it's normally split up in 2 parts. No, that's 4. 2 parts. You have 1st to 4th grade, which normally has like one side of the school and one set of teachers. Then you have 4th to 7th grade, which is another side of the school with a smaller playground and another set of teachers. In barneskolen, you don't have any grades at all. It's just about learning and having fun and playing a little bit and developing friendships and all that stuff. However, you do have what we call nationale prøver and other types of standardized testing that you have to go through just so that the teachers know like which level their students are on, I guess we could say. But nothing serious. It doesn't hurt you getting into middle school at all. You go to middle school from 8th to 10th grade, so when you're 13 to 15, 16. I started when I was 12 and finished when I was 15. And in this school you get grades for the first time, which is always exciting. And then you have to compete with those grades to go into high school. I'm going to talk a little bit about that later, but high school is from 11th to 13th grade. You get grades in all your subjects, you have exams, you have all the fun stuff we have to go through. Fact number 2. Now let's talk a little bit about middle school. So what's really cool about middle school when you finally like become an adult or a teenager, as we feel when you start middle school, you get to choose first off a foreign language that you can pursue and learn. You have French, German, Spanish, and there's also more advanced English. And I know some schools provide other languages as well, but these are like the main 3 plus English languages that you can learn. And then there's the coolest thing about the entire middle school timetable, which is the subject of choice that you can choose. So you have everything from democracy, design. What I had in 8th grade was coding. You can have extra classes of gym. I took media in 9th and 10th grade, and it was the most fun I've ever had in middle school, I think. There's a bunch more that wasn't provided in my school, but like traffic, theater, technology. That's one of the most fun things about middle school, that you get to choose a little bit more what you want to do. Also in middle school you have the ability to pursue harder maths or harder English. However, I tried getting into these. My teachers wouldn't allow it. I don't know why. But there is a possibility, but it's really hard to get into. But I don't really know a lot about it because I didn't go there, so I'm not going to talk anymore about that. Fact number 3. Now let's talk about high school, which is where I go. And high school is kind of hard to understand because first of all, obviously you get graded in middle school and you have to use these grades to get into high school. So you can't get into a high school that has a higher requirement than the grades you've got for middle school. So first off, before you apply to any high school, you need to know which kind of direction you want to go. Do you want to go direction A, where you basically have all the subjects you need to get into university? Do you want to have a combined direction where you have a little bit of both the things you need to get into university and also like more creative subjects? Or do you only want to have creative subjects? For example, if you want to be a hairdresser or a horse rider or a flower decorator, all things like that, you can take the 3rd direction. And once you're established what you want to do and which direction you want to take, then you can decide what school you want to go to. A type A school provides only the first direction I talked about, where it's only like preparatory for university. And there are a few of these. They're mostly quite competitive as well. Then you have the type B school, which is most schools, and it offers both the first and second direction, and also sometimes even the third. And in these schools, the study preparatory direction often has a super high requirement to get in. It's normally like 5 point something or 4.8, 4.7. And last up you have the type C school, which is a few, and it only offers the second and third type of direction that you want to go. So more creative subjects, and also some creative subjects that can also get into university with combining. Fact number 4. Let's talk about every Norwegian's favorite subject, nynorsk. So basically, I'm not going to tell you guys a story about nynorsk because I have no clue. I know a little bit, but my teacher knows a lot more. Wikipedia knows a lot more than me. However, when you are in middle school and high school, you are required to learn a writing language that's called nynorsk in addition to bokmål. Or if you're one of the 300,000 people, or a little bit more I think, that already write nynorsk, then you have to learn the opposite writing. Bokmål and nynorsk are quite different. There are a lot of things that makes no sense. The grammar is kind of different, how you formulate things is kind of different, and the grade you get in this subject counts as much on your report card as science or math or English or any other grade. So it's kind of weird that this like form of writing that is written by 300,000 people in Norway has to be learned by the other 5 million, and the grade counts as much as a subject that you take 5 hours a week, for example math, that is super hard and you work so much on it. There's a lot of debates that have been going on for the past like 30 years about nynorsk being removed or being kept. Of course some people really love nynorsk. I don't really have any opinions about it. I think it's okay. But then some people really hate it and they're like, get this subject away. Why do I need this? Fact number 5. Let's talk about sexual education and feminism, because it's something I feel that most countries and their governments don't want to include in the school's plan or timetables or anything like that. They don't want the schools to talk about it. This is obviously going to be kind of subjective because obviously I haven't gone to every single school in Norway, but what I feel like is that the schools and the education plans are really moving towards providing better sexual education and more focus on feminism and women empowerment and all these things. I remember in middle school it was super important for our teachers to teach us about the suffragette movement and strong leaders, strong female leaders. And then you have sexual education, which I really feel like should be a part of every single learning plan for the school year, because it's one of the few places that all teens can actually learn about this. I feel like sexual education should really be a part of every single learning plan for every single middle school and high school in the country, because birth control, consent, what your body goes through in puberty, and all these other things, what is in other countries considered as taboo or shouldn't be talked about, which should definitely be talked about. They are super simple to learn if you only provide like a couple of days a year, or maybe even 1 day a year, because it is as much or even a bigger part of our life than math or science is going to be in the future. So I definitely feel like the government, or at least in schools that I've gone to, have really moved the right direction and are moving in the right direction towards creating a better arena for learning sexual education and learning about feminism and all these important things in the modern society. Fact number 6. And one of the driving factors behind these movements and these shifts in what we have in our learning plans, I feel, is thanks to several like organizations driven by pupils. But first off, I really want to highlight what is called the student organization, or Norwegian Elevorganisasjonen. I'm part of this organization. I love it. I love the people in it. If you're Norwegian and you don't follow us on Instagram already, then definitely do. And go get involved in what's to be your school future and your educational future, because we work our butts off for students in Norway. So basically you have a lot of these organizations, but especially Elevorganisasjonen, which work to improve the learning plan for students and improve all the surrounding factors of the school. I believe that organizations like this is one of the reasons why the Norwegian school system is one of the top school systems in Europe and maybe even the world. Fact number 7. And it's the last one. So last time I want to talk about the graduation, and it's probably one thing that most of you guys came here to learn about. So basically we have something that's called russefeiring, which is 3 weeks to 1 month of celebration before you have your exams and before you graduate in the 13th grade. So you're allowed to drink and party and go to all these festivals and events. There's entire like businesses and organizations all focused on providing like the best russe experience for you, and they earn a lot of money on it. There are also different artists that only work to make russesanger. It's really a multi-million-dollar or kroner business, which is really extreme. It's gotten from our grandparents like celebrating with milk and going down Karl Johan and like waving their flags to spending millions of dollars a year. But yeah, basically what you do is that you get together with a group of friends. Normally it's like 15 to 25, and either you buy or rent a bus and you go party in this bus for like 3 weeks, or you can rent a van if you're a smaller amount of people, or you could just go together and make a song and buy some merch and be like, yo, where's the squad for the Rust time, but you don't spend as much money. Then you party from the end of April till the 17th of May, which is the last day, which is the National Norwegian Day. And then you go and have your final exams in the end of May and start of June, and then you're done with school, which is kind of weird because why would you celebrate that you're done with school before you've even had your final exams, which tells you which grade you get? And if you go to Norwegian high school, you will definitely hear a lot about it and learn a lot about it. Alright, I think that's all the stuff I wanted to talk about. If you guys have any more questions, definitely leave them below. Maybe I'll answer them there or make another video about a similar topic. But yeah, I hope you guys have learned a lot, and I will see you guys in my next video in a couple of days. Bye everyone! Mwah.